All right, everybody, welcome back to the SDR podcast. I'm your co-host Tim Fournier alongside Ian Meek Mills.
Howdy, how we doing?
Today, we are going over the AFC West. We did the AFC East last time. If you want to check that out, much longer video, I think, because we talked about the Bills for a long time. But
Yeah.
AFC West, here we go. Recapping last year, Chiefs win it at 14-3 and win the Super Bowl. Chargers 10-7, Raiders 6-11, and the Broncos hyped up and they sucked. 5-12. Ian, so Chiefs end of the dynasty, right? That was it.
Yeah, Chiefs. I mean,
They're done.
they're done. I mean, Justin Ross is looking horrible in training camp. No, the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs are going to be as good as anyone this year, as good as they've ever been. I would imagine. I mean, like, uh,
Obviously.
losing Eric Bieniemy, like, is that going to matter? Do you think? Like, that's
I
the only thing
don't think so. Like,
right?
obviously, we're not there. We're not in the building, but Andy Reid is the architect of that
Yeah,
offense. I don't think they're gonna miss a beat at all.
I agree.
They didn't miss a beat after losing Tyreek Hill. How real do you think that Justin Ross stuff actually is?
I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, well, looking at the receiver room, it's not good. Like, I mean, like, but also it works. Like, it worked. Like, obviously it worked last year. So it's like,
Yeah, and it was Juju. They drafted
yeah,
Rasheed Rice. Uh,
Justin Ross was really good in college.
he was amazing in college, dude.
And,
Absolutely. Like,
and
obviously, everyone has the same take. Like, it's not like mind blowing to be like, oh, he was so good in college. Like, he was better than T. Higgins in college on the same team.
so I mean,
He,
maybe he'll get playing time and he'll probably be fine.
and the only
It'll
reason
be
he fell off
it'll
is
be a good
because he had
value.
like the spinal injury, I think it
Yeah,
was.
and they'll have good value out of him because he wasn't a high draft pick. Did he even get drafted?
I don't think so.
I don't think he got drafted. But so yeah, my point is like they'll get a lot of value out of him because he was, undrafted or a late round draft pick, whatever it was. Yeah, the Chiefs are gonna be fine. They're gonna win this division. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Their O line, I guess, maybe is like sort of a concern, right?
Yeah,
Like they added Dwayne or not Dwayne, Juwan Taylor. Yeah, they added Juwan
yeah,
Taylor from Jacksonville
and signed Donovan Smith.
and signed Donovan Smith, like and Creed Humphreys. The more I look at it, I don't think their O line's actually a problem.
Their interior is really good. It's the tackles that could be a problem.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
lost a tackle in free agency, correct?
they did. Can't remember his name.
Orlando
Uh,
Brown. Yeah. Um,
yeah,
who Orlando Brown is like fine. Like everyone loves him. Like I'm a Ravens fan, so like this is how it all starts. Like he has a superstar dad that was amazing in the NFL for the Ravens. He um is massive. Got like so much publicity from his horrible combine, but then he was good. So then
yeah,
once you get like some publicity, call it as an offensive lineman, like people aren't watching these people all the time and like grading them, nor do they know how to do it. So
yeah,
when an offensive lineman gets publicity, like everyone, like 90% of the population is like, oh, they're good and they're always good.
yeah.
So then everyone wants Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown is just like the like 16th best right tackle in the NFL. He's very good. He's in that spot where like he can argue for a high contract for a team that can really use him. He's never going to live up to it.
I think he's playing left tackle for the Bengals this year. I want to say.
Right.
Um,
Sorry, left tackle, but he was right tackle on the
right.
Ravens and then like pounded
Yeah,
the table to play left so he could get more money.
yeah. Guys said Jonah Williams is moving to right tackle because of that.
Right.
Do you think he's better or worse than Juwan Taylor? Like, what do you think? Like, what do you think they're trading
I
off by
think
getting?
they're like I think he's better than Juwan Taylor, but the gap isn't that big. Like
Yeah,
Juwan Taylor also is just like an average right tackle.
yeah,
Orlando Brown probably a little bit better than that. He's probably like in terms of tackles, not just right tackle, like around average.
yeah.
So yeah. I
And
don't I think the signing is good for the Bengals because he won't be horrible and they're getting better, but they didn't just sign like some absolute game-changing left tackle.
Right.
Interior offensive line of the Chiefs, amazing.
Yeah.
Joe Tooney's
Creed
really good.
Humphrey.
Creed Humphrey's probably the best center in the NFL. Trey Smith, really good. We talked about the receivers. It's a whole just kind of like melting pot of different skill sets. MVS is the big deep threat. Rashid Rice is coming in. Richie James is coming in. Kadarius Toney, I think, has so much talent. I think he's literally like, first of all, breaks a new bone or tears a new something every week. There's that.
He's trending on Twitter once a week for like dissing Daniel Jones in like a DM. I don't know if you saw that, but
I don't know. And then obviously this entire offense flows through Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I almost wonder. I mean, it was kind of last year. Like Juju, we talked about him. I think he's he's good. Like he's a good receiver. He's a good slot guy. I almost wonder like how much their receiving core matters. Like they need guys to be able to catch balls, and they have trinket guys like Kadarius Toney that obviously used down the stretch in interesting ways, and it worked out for them. If Justin Ross is something, we just kind of mentioned it. Like if he is something, that's huge.
I think he's actually legit really good.
Yeah, and like we
so
kind
good
of
in college.
we know what MVS is at this point, and like he's good for like what 800 yards. I feel like receiving. Like,
it's just gonna be like a big play once every 4 weeks. That's gonna be like huge in the game. Here's my question about the Chiefs. They obviously could like easily withstood the loss of Tyreek Hill. If Travis Kelce were to get hurt, he's like what
32, I want to say.
Gonna be 33. No, he's 33 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like he's still very good right now and probably has a couple years left of dominance. Once he's gone, what is like?
Yeah, what do you do?
Are they still gonna be able to get by with the just like Kadarius Toney's, MVS, and Juju Smiths of the world?
I don't think so.
Like I thought they were gonna take a step back without Tyreek Hill, and they got better.
I mean, Travis Kelce is their receiver one, so to speak, right? Like that. Like it's almost like if you like that's such a huge drop off. Like taking Tyreek away, it was like okay, at least you have Travis Kelce, and you can get guys open on the outside, sort of. Sort of.
Are they so unbelievably creative that like when he's gone, they're gonna be just like completely fine too? Like if Travis Kelce tears his ACL next week, are the Chiefs still like in the Super Bowl bubble?
Yes. Oh, definitely. I would say so. As long as Pat Mahomes is healthy, like they're going to be one of the top. They're going to be a top 3 favorite in the NFL.
I feel like all losing Tyreek Hill did was force them to be more creative, and it just like created more of a cheat code. So it would be very interesting to see what it would look like with no Kelce because I mean, he's their best offensive weapon.
Anything on the defense before we?
The defense is really good.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about them. They're just like a very solid team and they're well coached.
Last thing I'll say on the Chiefs, they draft well. Like they've been drafting.
Yeah, they do.
Like they've been taking like late round.
Very well ran.
It's a good team. Like it's a good team. I mean, they're the Super Bowl champions. I mean, they will be in the conversation. They will probably be in the AFC Championship game next year, if not, further. So
definitely,
I get it. They're gonna win the division, in my opinion.
Very much, assuming no major injuries. On to the Chargers. We were talking about it a little bit before this. Kellen Moore coming over. I think we were also talking about before this in terms of how big a difference coaching makes in the NFL.
Right.
Coordinator changes often get swept under the rug and not talked about that much by the general public fandom of the NFL. I think Kellen Moore coming over here is going to play a huge role in really opening up Justin Herbert, who also played hurt last year with the rib injuries. And they get Rashawn Slater back, one of the best tackles in the NFL.
Yeah.
And, if Keenan Allen can, not blow out his hamstring like he always does every week.
Yeah.
Their weapons are very, very good.
Yeah, well, it's funny is we're saying like, oh, they have good weapons, but like it didn't seem that way last year. You know what I mean? Like obviously that had a lot to do with Keenan Allen being like injured a lot, but also is Keenan Allen I don't want to say he's obviously, a very serviceable receiver, but I don't think people realize how much like gas was taken out of him when he returned from injury.
He did really well to end the year, to be
He
fair.
did, but like statistically, yes. But like
Sure.
watching him, it was like after the catch. Again, not to say he was
Yeah.
always ever a
That's never
big.
really been his MO to be
No, it
explosive,
hasn't. But it's
but
like
yeah.
he's definitely lost a step, and that could be because he was coming back from injury. Maybe he'll come back and be fine. But I think that is something to monitor. It's like he could very
Definitely.
well be. He probably
I
is
think they
over the
can
hill.
cut him after this year.
Yeah. How big of a drop off will Keenan Allen take, if any? And I would wager to say that he will take a significant drop off, just because it looked like moving for him was difficult. But it's still, again, he still was putting up numbers, so who knows?
I think Quentin
Quentin
Johnson
Johnson,
is going to be really good with Herbert.
yeah,
I think he's going to be really good. He's going to add like that, some more just like dynamism to the offense. And he's someone they really need because Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, both of them could easily just not be playing any given week from small
right.
injuries, whatever it may be. So they're really giving Herbert the weapons to succeed. Austin Eckler, great player. I just always remember him. Even when like Melvin Gordon was there, I was talking about this with someone the other week. It was like he is just like very clearly better. He's just Austin Eckler, and this is Melvin Gordon. Like, how are you gonna give him the ball more? And now he's just kind of dominating with the role he has.
Do you think Austin Eckler gets overrated a little bit because of fantasy football?
Yes.
Like, definitely, right?
Yeah.
Like
He's a very good player,
he is,
receiving
but
back, but he just like benefits so much from like the type of volume he gets. Like in
yeah,
terms of fantasy, I feel like if they were to sign like Zeke, and all of a sudden the amount of like 1 yard touchdowns that Austin Eckler gets like cut in half, honestly.
right. He's not a
And
first
then
round
all of a
pick.
sudden he's running for 800 yards and not 900 yards. I think he only ran for 900 last year. And he
Yeah,
only has like 7 touchdowns. Everyone's like, who the heck is this guy?
yeah.
Very good player, but that's all I'm going to say.
I think well,
Um,
last thing I'll say about the Chargers, what Joel Lombardi was their OC last year.
yeah,
He kind of reminded me a little bit of the offense Herbert kind of ran in college, which was like, remember when like Justin Herbert came out of college and everyone was like, this guy just dunks, dinks and dunks, he's screen pass, like his average depth of target is so short. And then he came in as a rookie and just lit it up throwing the ball
yeah,
downfield. Like I feel like they almost took a step back, and last year we're like, all right, we're gonna go back to average depth of target. Again, to be safe, like their skill positions were hurt last year. That could have to do with it. But I think Kellen Moore is going to kind of elevate that and say like, hey, let's play to Justin Herbert's strength. He
yeah,
he might be a top. He probably is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. So yeah, that's the last thing I'll say on that. I think it kind of does come more down to coaching than personnel for them for this group this year.
yeah. I mean, the only other thing that could really hurt them is their offensive line needs to stay healthy. Slater coming back is huge. I really like Zion Johnson, first round pick from last year. Corey Linsley, solid. Jamari
Yeah.
Sawyer is solid. Trey Pipkins is eh. Um, the offensive line should be much better with Sean Slater coming back from injury and Zion Johnson developing. So
Mhm.
I think the Chargers, coming off of their massive playoff disappointment from the Jaguars comeback last year, I think people are going to be a little bit down on them, and they're going to be right there again in terms of, that 10-win team, 11-win team.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
defense,
Donald Parham's also good sleeper.
yeah, he's
Um,
massive. The defense, I mean, the Chargers, they're always also the biggest thing every single year is health. They seem to be just someone dies every year.
yeah,
The biggest problem the Chargers have had on defense the last few years has been just up the interior. They're always someone that you're easily able to run the ball on. And, part of that was, Kenneth Murray is one of those athletic young linebackers that like is taking a long time to understand the game, and he doesn't have his run fits. And they'd have Jerry Tillery, who they used to have on the D line, just on the interior, getting blown back 20 yards off the ball, and you could run the ball on them the whole time. Where run defense isn't the most important thing for a defense, but if you're really, really bad, then it's a really, really big problem.
Right.
And I don't know how much they really did to fix that, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I don't have much else to add.
I mean, they have Eric. They signed Eric Kendricks, who I think is going to help in that a lot, having a veteran like presence up the middle. But like in terms of other personnel, like I'm not really seeing a lot of improvements on like the interior D line. Sebastian Joseph Day is all right. Austin Johnson is there. So if you're a Chargers fan, you really got to hope for something to change there. And then you
Yeah.
really just got to hope for Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa to stay healthy too. Because once they started to get hurt a little bit last year, I know they were in and out.
Yeah.
They've dealt with their own injuries before.
Last thing I'll add is kind of along the same ways, dealing with health and kind of getting back to like Phil Mack's never going to be like what he was in Chicago or even with the Raiders, but he could take kind of a further step back. In the same breath, JC Jackson, I don't even know like how good JC Jackson is, but like when he was with the Patriots, outside of like one game a year where he got burnt by Stephon Diggs, like he was one of the better cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah. He
He is
was
not
not
bad.
good before getting hurt here either.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not a health thing per se. Like he was bad with the Chargers from the start, and they shut him down. And I think they kind of shut him down personally because they knew that. Like they knew it wasn't like
Yeah.
he wasn't good.
Is that
Anyway,
like he's not what they were expecting he was,
right,
or was that they knew something was wrong?
right,
Like,
exactly. And I
I
think
don't
that
know.
matters. If even looking at this depth chart, he's not even starting. Like Asante Samuel Jr. and Michael Davis
Right.
are
Michael
starting.
Davis is a really good player too,
I
though.
think
Like,
yeah,
he's
Michael
an
Davis
underrated
was
player.
good. Michael Davis was really good last year.
Yeah. He's
Um,
not someone that
and
gets a
this
lot of shine. And then obviously Derwin is elite.
yeah, and this defense, when they do things right, like they played the Dolphins to perfection last year.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I think like this defense, like Michael Davis really shined in that game. And I think this defense has promise in terms of like if everything kind of falls right. But I think it'll probably fall into like the average tier of like playoff teams, NFL defenses.
Yeah. So I really think assuming everything stays all right on the defense and they stay healthy enough, the big difference is going to be fully unlocking Justin Herbert in terms of
Right.
essentially just not doing what you did last year and having him fully healthy and having
Yeah.
some better weapons that are actually on the field and available for him.
Yeah. Now I look at the
Definitely a
raw.
very good team. I am expecting them to win somewhere around 10 games. I
I
feel
would
like I say
agree.
that too many times with AFC teams, and we'll really get into our projections for every game at some point here, but yeah, that's where I sit on them.
Yeah, biggest difference Lombardi versus Kellen Moore, probably.
Definitely. All right, so now on to the Raiders. I mean, last year Derek Carr. I was excited to watch the Raiders last year. I'm not gonna lie. The prospects of um Darren Waller, Devonta Adams, and Hunter Renfro was really exciting last year.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my best calls of all last year was that I really thought Josh Jacobs was going to have a really big season because the way I thought about it in my mind was there's going to be so much attention on Hunter Renfro, on Darren Waller, on Devonta Adams, and how much space they can just create for themselves that Josh Jacobs was going to be a huge beneficiary. And it didn't exactly work out with that because Hunter Waller and Renfro were kind of in and out of the lineup all year. But the part where Josh Jacobs was going to succeed definitely played out as he led the league in rushing and had an amazing year. The biggest thing was that honestly, Derek Carr was just bad. It seemed
Yeah.
like he kind of took a step up the year before that. So I was excited for it. And then last year he just sucked.
Yeah. I mean, this, like looking at this, like they actually have a really good skill position group.
They do.
You know what I mean? Like Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. I don't even know what Hunter Renfro is like at this point. There was a report saying that he might get cut. I don't think he will get cut. Maybe he'll get traded. But yeah, like Jimmy G is going to be competent.
He's gonna be healthy. I know he has
Gonna
like
be
a foot
yeah, if
problem.
he's healthy, he'll be competent. Josh Jacobs, it's gonna be interesting how they use him this year because like they know like, hey, we're not gonna pay him, but he also knows that. So it's like one of those things that it's like, is he gonna do what he did this year and basically like, hey, I'm on a contract year, I'm gonna get paid, lead the league in rushing, whatever, or are the Raiders gonna basically like, well, we don't want to pay you, we're gonna give you, 80% of the carries you had last year, whatever it ends up being.
I don't know.
Um, it is also interesting because if you go scroll down to the defense, this entire roster has been handicapped by awful drafting.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like they've cut first, like they from what the 2021 draft or 2020 draft maybe, they've cut Henry Ruggs. Obviously, they had to cut Henry Ruggs. That's not to be like they should, like that's
Right.
not entirely their fault. And then Arnett, was it DJ Arnett?
Damon.
Damon Arnett, obviously, first round draft pick corner got cut. Jonathan Abram, I mean, he was like fine to below average. Like it just feels like this they've just drafted so
Cleveland
poorly.
Farrell.
Yeah, Cleveland Farrell, and
That's
he's still on the
overall.
roster. Like the only reason anything, or is he on the roster?
I don't think. No.
No, he's not. Never mind. Yeah, Cleveland Farrell
Sure
not
he's
on the
not.
roster. It's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, they've had such bad draft in that like, like Jerry Tillery, he was like serviceable. You know what I
He
mean? Like
wasn't
like
drafted
they
by them, but he is not very good at all.
that's what I'm saying.
He's
Is
like a
like is
decent pass rusher, which is why he like still gets a spot on an NFL
yeah.
team. But he's just so bad in the run game that he's hard to even put out there.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is like like he's a guy they didn't draft. Same thing with like, well, like if you look at their starting defense, it's like most of these guys weren't drafted by them. They're just kind of like pickups to fill out the roster.
The
Like it's
only
just
bright spots on the defense is obviously Max Crosby, who's elite.
right.
Chandler Jones at this point is a shell of himself and is
Yeah.
not that good anymore. And then Trayvon Morig, I think, is a good young player, and Nate Hobbs had some good time in the slot. Other
Yeah.
than that, it's like there is no one on this team that you're looking as someone that's going to be like a long time
Right.
Raider. It's like
Yeah.
defense
They
is
have a bunch of
horrible.
plug and play, but none of the plug and play is like it's almost like they're treading water on defense, but thinking the offense is going to be good enough. Like they're going to have a bad defense and like an offense that could be good if their quarterback wasn't like Jimmy G. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they like know what they want to do almost. It feels like they're again, it's really does feel like they're just kind of treading water, but like not trying to tank. Because if they were trying to tank, they probably would have traded Devontae Adams. They probably wouldn't have signed Jacoby Myers. They probably would have somehow found a way to get Jonathan Jacobs off the roster. Like it's just like their offense seems to be wanting to win, but then it's like, oh, Jimmy G's their quarterback, and then you look on defense, it's like, oh, this is a really bad unit. So I don't know. It's a weird like they're going to be bad. So you know what I mean, like they're going to probably give up
The
30 points.
talent is really bad. I was just looking at this up here. Patrick Graham, their defensive coordinator. I do think he is a pretty good defensive coordinator. Kind of, he's from the Belichick tree.
Mhm.
I think he's done some decent stuff with the Giants while he was there before the Raiders. Um, but the roster is so bad.
Yeah,
The
especially on
defensive roster
defense,
is so
especially
bad.
on defense.
And then the offense has weapons. I think they're Devontae Adams in itself is a good deep threat, but I do think they're kind of missing a field stretcher. I think that's why they drafted Trey Tucker. He's a burner, he's a fast player, but it's like later round pick. Like, is he really going to be the guy to help that? The O line is okay.
Yeah,
Colton Miller is a good player. Jermaine Illuminor had a really like out of nowhere good season. The interior offensive line is eh. I think Dylan Parham, if I'm not mistaken, had a pretty good year. Obviously, like we're not offensive line experts, but I know for
sure.
a fact the Raiders' offensive line isn't horrible, which is really important when you have someone like Jimmy G. That you cannot have a bad O line, or you will have a lot of problems. I think the offense will be all right. I think the defense is going to be really bad,
Yeah.
and all that in a stacked AFC is going to have you be towards the bottom.
They might lose every game 35-24. Like they're just going to give up a lot of points and
They just
probably
they don't have a lot of upside at all.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
We're seeing last year was the beginning of the end of this like kind of Raiders infrastructure, I think. And we're gonna really see some changes in the future, I think.
I would say they're gonna have a fire sale by like week 7.
I could see it. I could see it, especially if Jimmy G like has more injury problems and they're starting like Brian Hoyer or what's the guy
Aiden
from
O'Connell.
Auburn's name?
Aiden O'Connell. They
Oh no,
drafted
Stidham's not even there.
Aiden O'Connell, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
their
they
first?
drafted him from Purdue. I was gonna say Stidham because he came at the end of last year, but he's not there anymore.
Oh,
So
yeah,
on to
he's
the
on the
Broncos.
Broncos.
What's up?
Yeah, Sidney from the Broncos, I think.
He is. I forgot about that. Um, the Broncos. I really liked the prospects of the Broncos last year, and I completely took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. I was all in on the Broncos, which maybe you should take it with a grain of salt when I say I feel like they in themselves as a team could be kind of like a post-hype sleeper team because the roster is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously, and Sean Payton's coming over. We're talking about how much of a difference coaching makes. I think there was just so much going wrong last year that which can really be traced back to um coaching and just the infrastructure of everything. I think
Yeah.
Hackett just was not fit for that job. And I know Russ is getting older, but I don't think he got that much worse.
Yeah, I mean, like what when you think of like what makes Russell Wilson good, I feel like it's like play action and like the deep ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like improvisation, the deep ball and play action. And like it felt like they weren't really doing that a lot last year. I think the addition of Sean Payton, again, I was just talking about Joe Lombardi and how I'm not that high on him. And obviously he's your OC, but I think Sean Payton kind of like Sean Payton's gonna be
He
the play.
overtakes that. Like in the same way that we're talking about how Hackett was so bad on the Broncos,
Yeah.
I don't think when he goes to the Jets, it's
Right.
gonna like be as apparent.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at
It's
is
different.
remember Sean, I think it was his last year, Sean Payton's last year, or Drew Brees' last year, when Drew Brees was a shell of himself, like barely an
Mm-hmm.
NFL quarterback. They made the playoffs. They
Yeah,
beat
they're good.
the Bucks twice. Like Sean Payton is so good at like I don't think maybe because he's been retired, people understand how good of an offensive mind that he has been historically. Um, and I do think that, maybe it'll take a year. Like, I'm not saying like they're going to come and light the world on fire, but I think last year was kind of like not a fluke, but I do think a lot of it was it was like there was no stability. It felt like in the, like from coaches, it felt like they didn't kind of know what they were doing. Um,
I
because
agree.
if you look at this offense, like Russell Wilson, if he can at least be like 80% of what he was in Seattle. If Cortland Sutton, like
They have the
can keep
pieces.
doing
The
what he's
receiving
doing.
core, Tim Patrick just got hurt out for the year.
Yeah.
His career might even be over, which is really sad.
Oh,
But Jerry Judy is so talented. I've always been waiting for him to kind of be unlocked, but it's never really worked out. Maybe he's not as elite as I thought he was coming out. Still think he's really good. Cortland Sutton, I think still has a lot left to be desired in his career. He's a really good player. And I really do like Marvin Mims with Patrick being hurt. I think he's going to fill in that role. As a young player, he was their first draft pick this year. I think Marquez Callaway is a good deep threat too. At tight end, they have Greg Dulcich, who had a really good rookie year. You don't normally see that from rookie tight ends. And then their offensive line is good. Garrett Bowles is a good tackle. Ben Powers had a great year for the Ravens last year. He got a big contract here. Lloyd Cushenberry is a solid center. He's probably their weakest player, and he's not a bad weak link to have. And he's not in that as a center. That's not really the most important thing. Quinn Meinerz is a really good player. He's an ascending player, and Mike McGlinchey is a solid tackle. So the offense doesn't have any holes.
yeah.
Other than if Russ is that bad again, which
Well,
I don't
it
think it's
also,
gonna happen with Sean Payton.
I also think Javonte Williams' health is a big, like,
He's supposed to be ready for preseason.
I know that's what I'm saying is like he's supposed to be ready, but like, is he going to come back and be, like, is he
Right.
going to have lost a step? Like, that's my big thing. Is
Right.
like,
I love Javonte Williams. Going into last year, he was one of my
yeah,
favorite
Yeah. He
Which
was so good
fantasy,
before
no
the
matter
injury.
what it was, I think he's so talented. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see what he can do with Sean Payton. His health, like we saw J.K. Dobbins come back last year after an ACL, and he was still good, but you could see once he get into the open field that he had no burst and he like couldn't open up and run.
Yeah.
We see different people heal different ways. We saw Adrian Peterson tear his ACL and almost break the all-time rushing record the next season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They signed Samaje Perine, who I think is a good player. He's just
Yeah.
solid, so he'll be serviceable. So even if Javonte Williams is taking a little bit to get back or he's not fully back, they'll be fine
Yeah.
at that spot. They'll lose
Uh,
some dynamism, but
yeah.
I think the offense is going to be good. And the defense is great.
Yeah.
They
Pat
get Zach
Surtain.
Allen coming over because they lost Draymond Jones, who was a good player. Zach Allen, I think, is a little bit of a step down. They got him for cheaper. It's whatever. DJ Jones is a good player. Matt Henningsen, good player out of Wisconsin, really good athlete. Baron Browning and Frank Clark and Nick Bonino provide a lot of juice off the edge, like a lot of speed. More Baron Browning, he's kind of that guy. And Randy Gregory is probably their best pass rusher. But he's always getting hurt or suspended or whatever it is. So they have an interesting group of edge rushers. Their inside linebackers are fine. Drew Sanders, I think, could be a good player, but they're fine. But that's all you really need to be at linebacker. And their secondary is really good.
Yeah.
Pat Surtain, one of the best corners in the NFL. Justin Simmons, one of the best safeties in the NFL. Kareem Jackson, good vet. And Kwan Williams is one of the best slot corners in the NFL. That cornerback 2 spot is kind of the question. I think Mathis is fine. It'll be interesting if Riley Moss as a young player can come in and be good.
Yeah.
But the defense is really good and they're well coached. So I don't see how this team is going to be bad again.
I would argue, I guess it really depends on, I think I might be a little higher on the Broncos than the Chargers.
Hmm.
And I might like Justin Herbert might come in and shut me up right away. But I just think like this team is more well-rounded than the Chargers. Like when I look at these rosters, I'm
I
far
agree,
more
honestly.
impressed
The
with the
Chargers are
Broncos
more
roster.
elite at positions, but they also
Correct.
have more holes.
Yeah, exactly. And like for the Chargers, it's like we talked about it. It's like, oh, are these guys gonna like return to form? Are these guys gonna get like is Keenan Allen and Nick Bosa, like are they gonna come back from being hurt and like be what they were before? And it's like with this roster, it's like Jerry Judy, I would imagine, is just gonna get better, not because of injury, but because he's young and because he's gonna have a
He
coach
had a
who's just gonna
really good end of the
use him.
year last year, too.
What's that?
He had a really great finish to last year.
Yeah, exactly. And like Cortland Sutton's been like quietly very good his entire career. Marquez Callaway, hey, Marquez Callaway was good with the Saints, like as a
Yep,
deep
with Sean
threat. Like,
Payton.
yeah, it was Sean Payton exactly. Like Sean Payton is, I think Sean Payton's good. Like Sean Payton is a good, really good coach, and I think offensively he's going to get these guys right. I think the defensive personnel is going to be good enough to at least be like above average.
Yeah. If they were in the NFC, I think obviously, like I keep saying, we haven't done our projections and predictions of everything. If they were in the NFC, I think I'd be calling for them to be making the playoffs. The
I
AFC
am.
is just
I'm
too.
calling for them to make the playoffs right now. Like I think this is the playoff team.
I think they're a playoff caliber team. I think the AFC is just too good. So you
Yeah,
think they're
sure.
gonna make it over, hypothetically,
Okay, I'm listening.
which team are they gonna jump out of these three?
Okay,
Well, for argument's sake, we'll say Bengals win the NFC North again.
sure.
Ravens,
Okay,
Jets, Dolphins, Patriots, Chargers, Titans. They have to
so
they have to be in the top uh 3 of those 6 teams.
they're better than the Titans, that's for sure.
Okay. I think they're pretty close. I think people sleep on the
Really?
Titans as well. I think they're similar. I'd honestly
Okay,
say all those teams are better than the Broncos,
I
personally.
think really okay, interesting.
I think the
I think
Ravens are better. I think the Dolphins are better. I think the Jets are better. I think the Patriots are better. What other teams did I say? I see your argument with the Chargers. I still just think they're better. And I the Titans I struggle with.
I go Titans. I think they're better than I
I
think
wouldn't
they're
blame you
better
for
than
that.
the Chargers. I think they're better than the Chargers, but it's one of those things. It's like okay, well, Justin Herbert, like it's like it's kind of the same thing with Pat Mahomes. It's like they're going to be good because of their quarterback.
But you think
Um,
the Broncos are better than one of the Ravens, Dolphins, Jets? That let's just cut to the
No,
chase.
Patriots would have been the last one.
Right. Well, let's just for argument's sake, we'll leave
So
it
better
out
than
because those teams are
the
clearly
Jets,
better
Jets,
than
Dolphins, or Ravens. I could
who
see
are they beating out?
what's that?
Who are of those
Well,
three? Who are
okay,
they beating
here's the
out?
way I'll put it. Like I could see them beating up on like I could see them having a better record than the Jets this year. Because the Jets like are gonna have three other teams in their division actively
That's
trying to.
fair. I mean, they get the Raiders.
And the Broncos have the Raiders twice a year. And
It's
I
only two
take it said
games,
like
but
I think they're better than the Chargers. If they swept the Chargers this year, I wouldn't really be that surprised. I don't know.
I
We'll
mean that's
see.
what they're going to need to do if they're going to make the playoffs.
Maybe
They're
I'm
going to
way
have to
too high.
win 4 games in their division.
It's possible I'm way too high on them, but I don't know. I'm kind of buying the Sean Payton hype.
Right.
I'm
I
doing the Sean
I
Payton hype.
want to be high on this team too. Like I think they're going to be like a really good like 7-win team.
I will say this. If it doesn't work out this year, I do think that the following, like it might just be like Sean Payton has to like dust the
Take a
cobwebs,
year. I could see
take a
it.
year.
Yeah.
Maybe this is more of a long-term investment. That's what I'll tell myself. This is a long-term investment.
I will agree with you in the fact that if you are a Broncos fan, you should have like hope for this year, if that makes sense.
Yes, I
Like the
agree.
odds are stacked against you, but it's not like, oh, last year sucked and we're locked into Russ. We're gonna suck for the next 3 years or however long he has left on his contract or whatever. I don't think that's the case at all. And you're gonna be rooting and they're gonna be in every game.
Yeah.
If they could
Yeah.
have the right bounce of variance, I think they could be a playoff team. I'm just not gonna predict it.
That's fair. We'll do our once we do our predictions, like in our
I
game
think that'll
predictions.
create a lot of clarity, but I think it's cool to go through all
Yeah,
these teams.
I do like the Broncos. I'm high on the Broncos. I think probably more than the average
I'm
person.
with you, honestly. But you
We'll
seem to
wrap
be
that
higher
up.
than me in terms of being able to fully predict that.
Yeah.
But all right. So that's the AFC West. Last thing we're gonna do today is the Immaculate Grid. We're gonna do this as a joint tandem here. Do you think should we try to go for the rarity, or should we just try to fill out this thing with without any misses?
I think we should try for rarity, but there's going to be a
When
couple
we
teams.
can, like when we know it's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we'll
then
kind of like play that role. So we're not really at the end of the day, we should be safe. I think we should try to get all 9 filled out with no wrong answers.
correct. I
But
agree.
we'll go for rarity when we like it. All right.
Yeah.
So first thing that comes to mind as a Ravens fan, I see this here: Ravens, Jets, Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first one that came to mind for
Could
me.
also wait, hold up. We could also do that for Chiefs Ravens.
Also true.
Like I'm just trying to think of rarity.
I got Sammy Watkins for that one.
I don't think it's gonna be as rare.
Orlando Brown.
That's gonna be definitely that's gonna be the number one pick, I think.
Yeah.
Well, let's think
Other Ravens, Jets, add Reed.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I go Ed Reed and then Le'Veon Bell for Ravens. Ravens Chiefs.
9%. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
And I like Lev Bell.
This is gonna be like 80%, and I'm gonna be really mad. Okay, good.
7%. Wow.
That's pretty good.
Ravens, Seahawks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but TJ Hushmanzada played for the Seahawks, correct? At some point? Or is that wrong? Or am I thinking of Sidney Rice? I might be thinking of Sidney.
I think you're thinking of Sidney Rice.
Because he did play for the Ravens at the very end of his career, and I remember him having a drop on the last play of his career, I'm pretty sure. Ravens Steelers playoff game, and the Ravens lost, and I was pissed.
Oh.
Ravens Seahawks is something I should. Oh, Earl Thomas.
Yeah, that could be one.
Do we want to try and think of a different one?
Let's try to think. Let's try to think a little bit harder because Earl Thomas, I think, is gonna be the number one answer. Man, my brain is not like fully
That's
working.
probably the number one answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Receivers, tight ends.
There's
Did
kind of
Javorius Allen ever make his way to the Seahawks?
oh
Uh,
Alex Collins.
that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, go
I
Alex
mean,
Collins.
that's got to be rare.
Yeah.
7%. All right,
Okay. Fair enough.
that was easy though because we got the Ravens.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll go Giants next, I guess. Jets, Giants. Who snacks? What was his
oh, Damon Harrison.
game? Did he play for?
Yeah, he definitely played for both.
Okay, that's what I thought. I think that's
You want
gonna
to
be
go
rare.
with him?
Usually,
I
huh?
feel like
I
people
think
forget about him now.
D linemen are usually very rare.
Yeah, let's do it. 4%. Wow.
Yeah.
Giants, Seahawks.
Matt Hasselbeck,
Did he play for the
right?
Giants?
Oh no, maybe Tim Hasselbeck did. Tim Hasselbeck definitely did. I don't think Matt Hasselbeck did. Just put Hasselbeck brothers.
Seahawks. Did like CJ Procise play for the Giants at all?
No. Oh, who was Saquon's backup? Clemson running back. I actually don't even know if he played for the Seahawks, so I can't even say that, but I think he did.
I'm thinking of like David Wilson or some bullshit.
No, not David Wilson. It'll come to me, but I don't even know if he played for the Seahawks for sure.
Let's skip that one for now. Giants,
Yeah.
Chiefs. Easiest one is Kadarius Toney. We absolutely just did the square. The Giants are kind of tough for me for some reason.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. I like NFC teams are like
Richie James just went over.
Has he played a snap though?
He has not.
So I don't think it would count. I think you have to play a snap.
Oh, okay.
At least that's how it works in the MLB one.
I would assume that's the same.
Yeah, it's the same website. So Chiefs, Giants.
I mean, we have two answers. Well, let's just move on from that one.
Yeah.
Seahawks, Rams. Easiest one is didn't Bobby Wagner play for the Rams?
Bobby Wagner
Last
played
year?
for both. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty
That's gonna be the
easy.
easiest one, probably. Did like Brian Quick ever play for the Seahawks? Or like Kenny Britt?
Didn't he play for the Jets?
Who?
Ryan Quick?
I remember them on the Titans or him on the Titans and Rams, I think.
I know Rams, yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. No, not Kenny Britt, Ryan Quick. Kenny Britt definitely played for the Titans.
Brian Quick, I know, played for the Rams at some point.
Yeah, that I do know, but okay. Chiefs Rams shouldn't be that hard.
No, it shouldn't.
Marcus Peters?
Yep, he played for both.
Marcus Peters played for both.
Yeah. Probably gonna be easy.
Yeah. All right, let's just start filling in squares.
All right, we'll do Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
And we'll do
It's not bad.
what do we say for Giants Chiefs? We said
Well, we say Kadarius Toney or
Richie James, but then we said he hasn't played a snap yet.
He won't have counted.
Let's just start filling in the squares. We got Toney. Yeah, he's the easiest one.
Look at that headshot.
Yeah, I know. And then we got Bobby Wagner.
Yeah. Bobby Wagner.
God dang it.
Yeah, that's gonna ruin the rarity.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, Rams, Jets. Rams, Jets. Oh, my laptop's about to die. Oh, Mark Bolger, right? No,
I don't know about that one.
that would have been Giant. No. I think I'm just
taking me a minute.
Did Nate Clemens ever play for the Rams?
Okay, this is kind of risky. I'm like, I would say 85% sure. Do you remember Zach Stacy?
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
pretty sure he played for both.
I
Short ass career.
I think you're
It was
right.
risky.
I think I go for it. I think you're right. I think
Ah,
you're right.
let's go.
Oh, 4%. I would have thought it'd have been shorter than that.
Wow.
Seahawks, Giants. Seahawks, Giants.
There's gotta be some like I don't know, did like Jeremy Shockey just like float around everywhere?
No, no, no.
What about Bear Pasco? There's no way he was a Seahawk. I have no idea.
I think so. Yeah. Man, I was just trying to think. Oh, Graham Gano.
He was on the Seahawks?
Yeah, right? For a long time, I thought.
Are you thinking of Hauschka?
Man, no, I don't think so. Oh,
All
maybe.
right, let's keep thinking, and then if we can't think of anything, we'll say Gano. I don't remember Gano on the Seahawks, but maybe
Did I make that? Where was Graham Gano before the Giants then?
he was on the Panthers at some point.
Maybe I'm thinking of Hauschka.
I think he's been on a few teams. Okay. What are like the running backs that have been on the Giants for our whole lives? Did
Uh,
Bradshaw ever go? Did Brandon Jacobs ever go? Um said David Wilson. Obviously Saquon, no. Did Thomas Rawls ever play on the Giants? Did
did
Doug
Sean Alexander
Baldwin?
ever make his way?
What?
So did Sean Alexander ever make his way to New York?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think Graham Gano is right.
I don't remember him on the Seahawks, man.
Oh, why do I remember him on the Seahawks? Aldrich Rosas, no.
There's definitely some really easy one.
It'll tell you after. Oh man. Think of quarterbacks now. Think of quarterback. Quarterbacks usually the easy.
Well, obviously Eli, no.
Yeah.
Hasselback
That's his brother did, but he didn't.
did like David
Matt,
Carr.
Matt Flynn ever be a backup for the Giants?
Not that I know of.
Derek Carr never
Did
did.
Tavares Jackson ever go to the Giants?
No, I don't think so. Joe Webb?
Joe
No. He don't even think he played for the Seahawks. Um,
Hakeem Nicks, Mario Manningham.
no, I was thinking about them before. Akeem Nicks, I think, played for the Colts, maybe, but not the.
I'm struggling to think of like 2014 like Giants. Bro, between the two of this should be really easy.
Who was on that receiving core with OBJ that went to the beach?
Ooh, the guys on the boat.
Yeah.
Was Victor Cruz on there?
No, but he wouldn't have played for the Seahawks. God
Who
damn,
else was on that team? Who was on the boat?
I don't know.
There's got to be some like linemen too.
Oh, definitely, definitely. We're not thinking about linemen at all.
How's Zach Stacy staring at me right now and we can't get this?
We have Zach Stacy and Damon Harrison.
Snacks. Bro, low key Snacks actually played there too. We're not gonna use him, but I feel like I low key remember that.
Well, we can't use him twice, but
Oh, it doesn't let us.
he doesn't let you use it twice. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did for one season, or
yeah.
not
I was
even
gonna
one
say. I
season.
feel like I remember that.
He played 6 games, no starts there. Damn, that would have been a snipe. That would have been like 0.2%. I mean, I guess a difference of 4%. Cliff Averill, did he ever play for the Giants? Did
Oh,
Brandon Brown ever play for the Giants?
not that I remember. Maybe
Did
AJ Wright. Um, who
so
was the pass rusher?
Justin
With like
Tucker ever
Osi
play for the Seahawks?
Umenyiora, there was Olivier Vernon.
Yeah. Oh, did Olivier Vernon?
He went to the Dol. No, he came from the Dolphins and then went to the Giants.
I think he went to the Browns after.
Yeah, I think you're right. Um, God, why can I not think of any Giants receivers post Super Bowl like in the Odell era?
Yeah.
I literally cannot think of it. Like Sterling Shepard, but like obviously he didn't. We need Rhett.
Hmm?
We need Rhett.
Yeah, Rhett would help us out here. Uh man.
What about like Davis Webb?
No, he went Bills, Giants, back and forth between the two. Um, man.
Taking a long time on this.
Yeah, we are. I'm trying to think of like tight ends.
Good thing no one watches this podcast.
We just cut out like a 10-minute span and we're like we end up on like I don't know. There has to be one obvious answer.
No, there definitely is. We're definitely being just idiots.
Did Phil Simms ever play with the Seahawks?
Low key. Who are some like random Giants running backs?
Geno Smith.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. That's
Geno
gonna be
Smith.
the easiest one, but at this point. All right, that took us way too long, but we finally got one. There we go.
Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. It'll show you like the percentages and things like that. Yeah, who? Geno Smith. God damn it.
Golden Tate,
Golden Tate.
Brandon
Brandon
Marshall,
Marshall. Wow.
Brandon Stokely, Nick Vanette.
Oh,
Okay, honestly, I haven't really seen that many names that I'm mad about.
I'm mad that it took us so long to get Geno Smith. that
Yeah,
I'm
but
mad.
even then, like his Giants career was so like
Yeah. A
honestly, this one
different
was just really hard.
that was tough.
Like if you're not a Giants or Seahawks fan, like
Yeah.
there
Like
is
if you're trying to
only
go,
like there is not many names that I even recognize on this list.
yeah,
Going
in
through
terms
all
of
this
rarity,
names that I legitimately recognize, obviously Geno Smith and Golden Tate, uh,
Brandon Marshall,
uh Brandon Marshall,
Brandon
Brandon
Stokely.
Stokely, Nick Vanette. I
I
was gonna
wouldn't have known
guess that, but
Brandley Stokely played 2 games for the Giants. I would have never
yeah, like
known.
I would have never guessed it. Ray Armstrong, like obviously I know who that. I'm not gonna guess that.
Yeah. Well,
Uh, DJ Fluker, Mark Lewinsky. These are all just like names that I know.
I also, yeah, no, Graham Gano would not work. Graham Gano was Washington kickers, and then yeah, he was the Panthers for
Josh
8 years.
Brown, he was a kicker, right? Yeah. Didn't he like have domestic abuse
I
problems?
think he did. I think he did. Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah, that one was just really hard. I'm really lucky that you remember Geno Smith because I was not coming up with anything.
What's funny is I wasn't even thinking of like current Seahawks. I was thinking of like the Giants' third string quarterbacks from like 5 years ago, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, that was awful. But we did it.
well,
We got no
we
wrong
did.
guesses.
I'm happy with Zach Stacy, Damon Harrison. 50% is actually, I would have thought that it would have been higher than that for Geno Smith, but
Yeah.
I'm happy with like 6 of our answers.
A lot of people probably just didn't even get one for that.
Yeah. I'm happy with Zach Stacy, Damon Harrison, Ed Reed, Le'Veon Bell, and
Yeah.
to a lesser extent.
I think we were commendable on that one.
Yeah. If it didn't take us like 5 hours, that would have been a very good.
Yeah, that took a long time. But that's gonna be the end of the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed. We're glad to be back. We're gonna start doing this consistently.
Weekly,
I swear.
bi-weekly by chance.
Yes, consistently though. We're back.
Yeah. All right, guys. We appreciate you.
Peace out, brothers.
Brothers, we'll see you.
See ya.